Donald Trump is obviously never going to admit that he is openly and willfully breaking the law and ordering his toadies to do the same. But behind the scenes, he's making it very clear that he knows exactly what they're doing. 3 Trump insiders recently told the outlet Zeteo that Trump has said, quote, they had to pardon members of his inner circle and that it's a good idea to do so before he leaves office. Well, if you are gonna do it, yes, I agree it's a good idea to do it before he leaves office because you can't do it after he leaves office. So I agree with Trump there. His brain isn't decaying, but should he do it? Probably. There's going to be investigations because you guys are breaking the law. Whether it's moral to do so is a very different question. But apparently these conversations have been happening off and on, sort of sporadically. They involve the president, senior aides, and federal appointees, probably including some people who are going to desperately need those pardons. And we don't know exactly who they would be targeting these for, but I think we could hazard a couple of guesses. Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem, they're in charge of the mass deportation stuff. And so the various times that they've landed in court for willfully violating what judges have told them to do, saying, oh, we didn't get that order until after the plane was in the air, they're just lying. That's theoretically something that could land them in actual legal trouble. Again, the willful violations of people's constitutional rights and all that. So I would say that those people involved in the border and mass deportation probably are gonna need some pardons there too. But remember, you also have Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth, of course, is out there likely committing multiple war crimes, ordering it, firing people who refuse to commit those war crimes. He potentially could need a little bit of protection too. And then, of course, JR, you have the areas of corruption, the massive bribes that they're taking, those sorts of things. I think that could probably involve Donald Trump, members of his family, likely his economic advisors who are engaged in this sort of stuff, Witkoff and those sorts of things. That would be my guess. I don't know if you have any other ideas about who they might target with this, but I also want to let you know, one of the Trump spokespeople has reached out for comment on this, and they're like, Zeteo is a lying rag. Yeah. And that person will be saying why it's awesome to do the pardons the second after they happen, but until they happen, oh, lying rag. What do you think?
I got a couple extra names. You mentioned Steve, because the first ones are Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem, because we've seen it. But there's Tom Homan. They hid his $50,000 bribe for giving out those contracts. That's why he's been in front and center trying sell this up until that story came out. Have you seen as much from Tom Homan recently since that?
No.
Did you notice that? He kind of took a back seat, hoping people would forget long enough before he's sticking his face out there again now, probably to help pitch the propaganda for how they're not going to be going after regular folks. Marco Rubio and his partners, all these negotiations and corruption and foreign policy dealings, as they've sold, everything that they could to foreign nations, like Vladimir Putin and Russia in these negotiations. Also, maybe even Elon Musk, since you're talking about corruption. Digging into all of the background areas of our government and stealing everyone's information, financial advice, healthcare advice. This guy had access to everything. I feel like we gloss over just how deep and involved Elon Musk was destroying in people's lives and how much they still have that control. We have no idea the degree to which they've got a stranglehold on our actual lives, even after this guy is gone. But last thing, Biden had those preemptive pardons before he left. I think they were discussing some of them because Donald Trump was gonna be on this revenge tour, which obviously panned out to be a reason why. What's the reason that they're giving now that they're gonna give preemptive pardons? Because Joe Biden's gonna come back? He's gonna come back around and start giving this whole lawfare that they were talking about? No, the admission is that they're doing illegal things and they wanna go ahead and skirt those responsibilities.
Yeah.
They said it about Biden, and you can say it about Biden. Maybe it was.
Yeah,
is it the same thing here?
You're right on 2 counts. First of all, Biden kind of had to do some of those because Donald Trump is absolutely out of control, and they wanted to investigate these people for absolutely nothing, and they've done that to everybody that they can, to Comey and James and all that stuff. The issue is that MAGA will think this is the same thing, except these people are actually breaking the law. This is not just go after them to go after them. Tom Homan took a sack of cash as a bribe. That's a real crime, and so I hate how they'll both sides things that are not at all the same. But finally, you're totally right about Elon Musk. I mean, they stole people's information. God knows what they planted in those systems. The programs that they illegally shut down that led to actual people dying. Elon Musk should 100% be investigated for that. I can't believe I left him off. You're totally right.